Hi guys, welcome again. Today we're going to do a metal 3D insect. First of all, we'll go through Vectric, which I get more questions than anything about sketching my items. So import, I'll just do a GIF image for now. Now what we'll do is this software will actually image trace, but we find it is, to be fair, it's not very good. You're left with all kind of nodes to get rid of. So we'll hit this image trace button. Now what I tend to do is if you hit preview, you'll see what I mean, and you've got more editing, than it's just easier to sketch it from scratch. So rather than hit preview, once it dims the image, I just hit close, and you'll see in a minute what happens. Just whack that to full, and it will just give you a faded background, which is ample for us to work with anyway. So if we just scale, now we'll just sketch the sword out. Now because I'm always the plasma cutting and not the wood router, I just prefer to work with less nodes, and this is the way to do it. So if I just zoom in on the sword, now I can quickly, with straight lines, doesn't matter about curves at this point, just go around the sword. Now again, got any questions on any of the software that I use, guys, and you want to do something different, then obviously bob us a mail, leave us a comment, and I'll do the best I can. Bear in mind, don't forget as well, I'm not a pro, mate. I'm just a man in the shed, and I cut some cool things out. So this is just the way I do it. You may do it different, but it's the way I do it. So as often when you cross these lines here, when you use a scissor tool, you can just trim the edges off. Boom, and now it's grouped, still grouped, which is a lot less messing about. Now, if I just quickly then zoom into the job. Now what I tend to do, now there's two ways of doing it. Sometimes you'll be plagued with loads of images. Now if you want to do an image trace you can, but on this straight line alone you'll notice you've got about 30 nodes, which they're an absolute pain, and it can leave a pretty naff cut on a plasma. And again, I'm not going to get into the debate we CV settings in Mach 3 and all that lot, because I'm alright with that, but still I prefer least nodes as possible. So what we'll do, we'll just right click on these and we'll just smooth the nodes out. Blues are smooth, blacks are tight angles, and I try and have as least black nodes as possible in any of my plasma cutting. Doesn't matter what, it's just better to have the blue nodes for me, the smoother. So once we click onto here, we can then just pull the handles down and we can just drag that back into shape. Now we can add any nodes along this point. Now because it's a straight line, again I want least nodes, so what I tend to do is between each node I can usually cut the vector. So we'll cut it there, and we'll obviously cut it there. Now I can delete this, just get rid of that line. Now if we go back into our vector and we can choose close vector, now it'll ask me smooth all line, hit line, straight in. No vectors, something that you like. Now again, you can do that with a round object, and it will kind of work it a little bit out for you, which is really good, which I'll show you at the top shortly. So we can just add the top ones as a smooth. But again, we'll get rid of these nodes in a second. We'll have one complete curve, and it just looks much better on the plasma. So before we get the comments about the plasmas in Mach 3 looking 20 lines in front, 200 lines across, any of that, it's whatever. Yeah, least nodes is better. So we drag that away, and you're left with a sword. Now again, I'll just quickly show you on the round stuff. Edit node. So if I cut the node on this one here, cut the vector, get rid of the top bit, and then we can join it then with a smooth arc. There we go. So basically when we go into node edit now, there's no nodes in between. So it's ideal, and it leaves for a very smooth cut. So that's how I quickly sketch parts and images out using Vectric. Just find it's just a lot easier than Photoshop in my book, and it's my way how I do it. So moving forward to this bit of a bug. Now that's answered some of the questions. Exactly. So we'll go into here now. Again, this was made before, because no way, there's a lot of work, to be fair, involved in this. So if we just this is me, forgot to have the settings on DXF like an idiot. There we go. So I just drag these up. Now all these again, they're drawn individually. Zoom them in. Now I use 1.6mm gauge steel for these, only because it's cheapest at the time, and it is substantial. It ain't gonna break soon. The slots that go in, I've made as basically 1.2mm, because on my 0.8 tip it's a 0.9 cuff. So another mil leeway, I can play with it and weld it up, as you can see. So that's obviously them was drawn like I've just shown you, and again you can zoom in each part. I'll show you in a second. Now if anyone wants this template, mate, send us an email and I'll send it you free of charge. There's no problem. Again, all these pieces are scaled to a 400mm by 400mm sheet, which when we finish the bug, it's quite a fair size. So it's enough. So if I just zoom out on one particular leg, I'll show you, just ungroup all these. And we can zoom individual legs. There we go. So they're literally all made individually. Now obviously there's two of each, so I don't mean to do everyone, because obviously it's wings. I can just do one of them, copy and paste and flip it. Makes it, you know what I mean? So rather than do every individual one, so they're the same size. So into sheet cam, import what we've just done. Again, here's me, it's looking for an SVG, but it's a DXF. Yeah, I'm having a blonde day. I'll find it in a minute, trust me. There you go, I finally worked it out. There you go, there are all the pieces in sheet cam. And that's how they're laid out as well for me on my 400mm by 400mm sheet. And again, you'd pretty much know by now if you've watched any of my other videos. Straight into contours, pick switch layer, inside out layer. Sheet cams, it's brilliant, really, for man in the shed kind of stuff. And pro, but for me, I didn't want a massive learning curve. A Fusion 360, it's just, I haven't got time. It's people want the parts, get the stuff out, get them done, on with the next. So I'll just bung these on the outside path. I'm not going to bore you to death like I've done with the others. I'll just do a quick four, because I always do my inside cuts first generally. So again, into tool sets. There we go, into tool sets, outside to outside path. Again, all my cut tools are already set up. I use my Jasic 45 cut, always have for all my cuts. All the tools on the left hand side, and I've spent days and days working out the curves, pierce heights. So if you've got a Jasic 45, razor weld, if you give me a shout, I'll email you the file that I've worked out. So again, guys, that's it. All ready for the sheet cam. So that's part one, and I'm going to quickly then add part two, because it is a bit of the welding part and everything else. Not bore you to death under one video. So thanks guys, I'll be back shortly with the welding.